Hi everyone, it's Justine here from House of Mahalo. Thanks so much for joining me. So I believe this is part 4 of the Secret Garden Lapbook that we've been making together. And today I want to focus on the removable journal that's going to go in the centre spine. So I've already cut down the pages that I want to use to size, just because it was a lot of trial and error. I don't measure, so it was a lot of cut a bit here, cut a bit there, cut a bit there, you know, until it fits. So we'll go through that in a second. What I was aiming for is, I think I'm going to use 2 eyelets with an elastic so that it's removable. So I was aiming for the journal to fit within this this panel here. So in terms of width, it needs to be able to fit. So when you close up this side and the whole thing, what you need, and I'm hoping you'll be able to see this if I pull it out, the journal needs to be able to fit comfortably. Can you see within that panel, that section? Because we're not having the journal here, it's going to be sitting within this back piece. I hope that is clear as to what I was aiming for. So essentially we're going to have it here. And then height-wise, it needs to be smaller than the journal, the cover, in order to fit 2 eyelets top and bottom, for the elastic not to pull on your book pages. If I had left these the size that they were, so it would have been the whole cover size, that would have been fine for sewing it in. So you can do that instead if you prefer to do that than a removable version. But for an elastic and eyelets, if this had been the same size as my cover, it would pull at the edges of the book page at the top, and then over time it would wear and tear and eventually rip. So that's what I obviously want to avoid. So yeah, so I've cut them down. I think I ended up cutting about 1/2 inch in width, so not too much really. And height-wise, it was probably about 1 centimetre or so. So a bit did have to come off, but I basically worked with the book pages that I've chosen in order to still have the pattern that I want. So this is my front cover. So this is the book page with this beautiful tree image. And this is the back. And this is why I want to use cereal bag liner, which is how we're going to make the journal today, because I didn't want to lose the illustrations on the back either. So that's my front cover. For the back, I wanted this image with these beautiful flowers and the 2 boys sitting together in the garden. And of course, there's our cheeky little robin. And then on the back, again, we've got some lovely imagery. You know, we've got is that a mole? Mole? I think it's a mole. You know, this toad and owls. But I wanted to cover up the text. So then I took another page, which was this one, with the boy and the blue tits in the garden. And then I just cut down a panel that I'm going to glue onto here. And then I've got a slight border. Can you see the white border here? Just to mirror the way that the rest of it looks. You know, we've got borders in between. So essentially I'm making my own book page with these beautiful illustrations. And then on the back, yes, unfortunately I did have to lose an image, but it had text at the bottom, so I didn't feel like I wasn't losing a full page image either. So that's what we're doing. So I'm going to glue this down, and then as I say, I want to use cereal bag liner so that you can see the front and backs of the images. I've done this before for one of my fairy journals and it worked quite well. I didn't make the cover using it, but I made one of the journal pages was using cereal bag liner, and it worked quite nicely. And I remember when I did the video, I remember saying to myself, oh, this would make a really nice journal cover. And then of course when this project came about, I knew instantly that I wanted to, you know, try the cereal bag liner with this one. So I'm just positioning that so that it's in the right place. If there's any excess that I need to cut off, because as I say, I didn't measure anything, I was just going by, you know, a bit here, a bit there, then I can always cut pieces off. And then I am just going to come in with the edges with the art glitter glue. I don't like to use any other glue along the edges because it has a tendency like to spurt out. But I will be sewing around this. That's not completely necessary. If you're crafting along and you don't want to sew anything, then I think you could still do a cover using glue with the cereal bag liner. You would just have to use a strong glue. So I would probably say use Beacon 3-in-1 or Fabri-Tac, because they work better with plastic materials, I think, personally. Okay, so that is my 2 book pages. Let me just grab my cereal bag liners. So to prepare these, I basically opened out the full liner, and then I took it to the shower and I hosed it down, and then I went over it with a disinfectant wipe and then dried it thoroughly. So it's clean and disinfected and all the rest of it, so you know I'm safe to use it. Okay, and we're just going to glue the panels in here. So I'm going to use the Beacon. As I say, I am sewing around it, but I'm just going to go and use this. So I want to keep to the edge because I'm sewing around it, and then my stitching will cover over any glue marks that you might see through the cereal bag liner. So I'm going to be very careful to just get a thin-ish line, and then I'll be going around it with a zigzag stitch. Oh goodness, but very gloopy glue today. That's it. Okay, so I'm going to pop that down on there. Just going to make sure I haven't got any, you know, rub off the excess and everything, because I don't want any glue marks. If you were not using a sewing machine, you could probably do it along the edges as well. I wouldn't suggest, you know, going over your image with the glue, because you might end up with glue streaks and things. But then you might need to, you know, we're going to sew around the edges of this. Rather than sewing, perhaps you could use like washi or something just to cover over the edges and things, just to give it extra protection. I'm sure there are ways that you could do this without sewing, but you know, for me, I enjoy sewing most of the time. So you know, I'm fine to use my sewing machine, but I know, you know, it's not for everyone, and that's not a problem. Okay, so I'm just gonna smooth that. It's got a really interesting texture to it. I'm just smoothing it out to get rid of any air bubbles, because I do want to be able to see these images as clearly as possible. Okay, and then I'm going to I think I'm just going to do glue around the outside in order then to attach the other cereal bag liner. Because we've glued the book pages before, I'm not worried about things moving and stuff. You know, that's kept the book pages in place, and now this will attach the other cereal bag. Again, I'm going to smooth it out as best as I can. And then when I take it through the sewing machine, I'll be smoothing it out then as well. Because as I say, I don't mind a little bit of wrinkling and stuff, but I want the images to be as clear as possible. Okay, so that is that. So now I can take this to my sewing machine, and what I'm going to do is go a zigzag line all the way around this and probably up the middle as well, on either side of the book page to give it a border, and then everything will be completely down, and then we can simply cut around the book page, and then we would have this fun cover where you can see the images front and back. So I hope that you like the idea. Of course, if you don't have cereal bag liner and you want to do this, you could use any type of plastic. You could even use vellum maybe. Vellum, those plastic pockets that you get in ring binders, you could use something like that. There are lots of things around the house that you could use, I'm sure, but I have a stack of these, so for me this works, and it's a free supply, which is always good. Anyway, so I'll hit pause. I'm just gonna zigzag around the whole thing, and I'll come back and we'll do the rest. Okay, there we go. I've got the cereal bag cover sewn around. There we are. So it's worked out kind of how I wanted it, which is great. Obviously, the main thing is that I wanted to see the fronts and backs of these beautiful book pages. So I'm quite happy with that. I have put together a signature, so I'll just quickly show you. I've got some like plain writing paper. I've got some book pages with pretty florals on, and some of them have little like quotes about nature on them. A different book page there with like a field guide type page. Some faux tea-dyed paper. That's from the same book as before with the quotes on. This is one of the pocket pages that I've done. So we'll sort the signature on a different video because I need to spend some time cutting the pages down. But I do have a video on making these pocket pages. I do need to sew up the bottom because I had to cut this one down to size, so I'll do that as well. But essentially we make these big pocket pages which have flaps on, and then from there I'm going to attach another bit of paper, so in this case writing paper. But I'll show you that another time. There's another bit of writing paper, faux tea dyed, and then that's another piece of the quote paper. I want to run some washi down some of the pages as well, so I do need to sort of sit and do that. And then I've got a kit page from Leanna Scrap with writing spot on it. And then this is doubled over, so again I need to go in with a bit of better glue in to give you this middle, which I don't know what I'm doing with the middle yet. I don't know if I'm going to have something in the centre, pockets or an envelope or something. But yeah, that's the signature. I think it's 10 pages, including the pocket page. So I think that's 40 sides of journaling / reading space. So I'm pretty happy with that as a size. So that's where I've got to. Now for the front, I didn't want to do too much because I absolutely love this tree scene. But I found, I think it was a freebie sheet from My Porch Prints. I think it's on their website. They've got some like word label things. And I found secrets and I couldn't resist. I was thinking to have this on the front. Because, if this was Mary's diary, from the secret garden, then I feel like she would probably have a secret diary, so I kind of wanted to use this. So I've just cut down some crochet trim that I've used along the spine of the journal, and a little bit of gold sparkly ribbon because it's me, and I'm just going to attempt to glue these on the front with Fabri-Tac. I'm hoping that it will glue to the cereal bag okay. I've never actually glued anything to cereal bags, so we shall see. But the beacon / Fabri-Tac, if any glue's going to do it, that would be the one to be successful, so let's just give it a go. Oops, there we go. I was having all manner of problems with my sewing machine when I was doing the cereal bag. It wasn't the cereal bag causing it. For some reason, my bobbin kept falling out of its casing, as in the whole like bobbin part of the machine kept falling out. That's how much I use my sewing machine, and it is only a cheap one that I've had absolutely years now. I think I've had it about 10 years. And of course in the last couple of years or so I've been using it an awful lot. And yeah, unfortunately I might be in the position where I might need to buy a new sewing machine, because yeah, it was a bit of a palaver today, but no matter, we got there in the end. So just popping that in. Yeah, I've said the word secrets for so long that now it looks a little bit funny. The word to me, it's like when you say the same word over and over again, or you read the same word over and over again, it starts looking like, is that actually how it's spelled? I'm like, I know it is, but do you ever get that? It's a really weird, like, mental phenomenon, isn't it? Okay, I think that is simple. As I say, I do need to trim all the pages down. So I'm just going to make sure I've not got glue on my hands before I bring in the actual Lapbook. So I've just run some crochet trim along the spine, just glued on, to cover up where I had to patch the spine in. I think that was in part 1, wasn't it, when we were doing the cover. So yeah, I like how that's looking. I was originally going to have a closure running underneath the crochet, but I wasn't liking how any of the seam binding or ribbon was looking across the front. I felt like it was detracting from the book plate and the whole scene. And to be honest, it's all sitting really very flat, and I don't think it's going to be a gator mouth. So I'm actually going to toy with the idea of not having a closure on this one for a change. If I get to a point where I need to have a closure, then I'll just tie some ribbon around it and it will just be a removable closure, but that's where I've got to with that. So this is going to be the removable journal. Just going to sit in there, so I'll just show you how it's looking with that cover. So it'll be somewhere in the middle there. So, you know, we've got the nice greenery. When you're writing in the journal and stuff, you've got the nice flowers reflected on both sides. You can't see that. And then you get to the back and we've got, again, some flowers and animals and things. And then, of course, we've got that beautiful scene. And I just love how that's looking with the greenery and the flowers. I really think it's all going very well together. I appreciate the shininess. You can't see it with the light in, but in person it looks very nice. So, right, I'm just going to take out the pages because they're throwing me off in terms of the height of the journal. Because, as I mentioned, we want to make sure that this is going to fit nicely. And I think it is. It's a bit tight because I didn't want to lose too much from my book pages, but we're just going to go with it. So, I believe my spine is 1 inch. I'm just going to have 1 set of eyelets. So, yep, 1 inch. So we want it to be 1/2 inch. I'm hoping this is going to fit. I'm worried about the height of the journal, actually. It's one of those things, if I have to trim it down a bit, I'm just going to have to trim it down and, you know, re-sew it and everything. I mean, it's what it is, isn't it? So again, I'm just measuring 1/2 inch. And then I'm just going to double check that they're in the same place. Yeah. Right, so I'm going to use an elastic binding so that the journal can be removable. If you don't want to do a removable journal, you don't have to. You could just sew this into the spine like you would, you know, a normal journal. For me, I like the idea of it being removable. So I think I'm going to go with my 1 inch eyelets. Because I'm worried about the height, normally I would use standard eyelets. But with these, I can get closer to the top of the book cover without causing any weakness. And that then is a better fit, I think. So it's not ideal, but is what it is, and we work around these things, don't we? Okay, so first of all, I need to punch my holes. So I'm going to use my crocodile, obviously. And what I like to do is I actually like to bring the book to me. So you're not going to be able to see me punch the holes because I like to do it over the edge of my desk, so I can definitely see what I'm doing. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to use this like black moving thing to get them to be the same. Okay, I've got my holes in and I think they are level. So now I can turn it over and put my eyelets in. Now normally I would do this off screen, but the last time that I did an eyelet binding, I did have a couple of comments to say that they would have liked to have seen this part. So for those of you who would like to see. So because I'm using smaller eyelets, I've changed the settings. Oops. And I've got it on C3. These eyelets are not memory keepers, they are Craftelia, the Spanish shop. It's the only place we seem to be able to get small eyelets in the UK. So it is a little bit different. Obviously the opening on the back comes out a little bit, you know, wider and stuff, but it is what it is. I'm sure once we've got the journal in and stuff, it will look better. So just find the other hole. As I say, normally I would use standard sized eyelets, but it's just where I haven't really left enough space for my journal to go in. That's fine though. Okay, I think they're in line. I think they might be slightly over, but that type of stuff really doesn't bother me these days. There was a time when stuff like that used to really bother me. Since starting to do junk journals and stuff, I found that actually it really doesn't matter as much. Let me just move those out of the way because we're done with measuring. And I want essentially 2 heights of my book in this elastic cord that I've got. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to come in through the front like that, and then we're going to take the other thread and come in down the bottom here like so, and then in the middle we can just tie a knot. I'm not going to tie it super tight just yet because I want to make sure that I've got enough cord for my journal and that. And obviously I can cut off the excess. Right, let me just grab this. Fingers crossed it works okay. As I say, I haven't actually trimmed down the pages yet, so I think they will be a bit snug until I cut those down. So I'm probably best trying it without that first. Oh, it's the morning. Why do I try and craft in the morning? There we go, right. I forgot that I hadn't trimmed the pages down yet. I really hope this fits, you know. Oof, just. Yeah, it was necessary to use those small eyelets, unfortunately, because they it only just fits. So if you are going to follow in my footsteps and you want to use normal eyelets, you know, if you are going to make it a removable journal, then really height-wise, you're going to have to cut it down even more. I really thought that would be enough, but yeah, basically I had to use those small eyelets, otherwise there wouldn't be enough room. But that's okay, it's fitting in all right. Just checking that it's got enough space in the gap that it's going to be in. I think it does, yeah. Now the funny thing is, when I was looking at this earlier, I don't know whether I should be making 2 signatures for this, because to me it seems a bit odd that we've got one signature in the back here and nothing in the front. But I'm going to wait until I've got all my pockets filled, because again, because this is the first one I've ever made, I don't know how much room I'm actually going to have for everything, so I've just kind of got to play it by ear, really. But that's the Oh yeah, that's the journal cover in. As I say, I need to chop down my pages, so I'll do that later. For the binding, I'm just going to do a 3-hole pamphlet stitch into the cover, and then that way when you take the journal out to write, the whole thing comes out as one piece. That's just how I like to do it. Or I don't know, I mean, part of me is wondering whether I should 3-hole pamphlet stitch just the pages and then have the cover be like removable so you can change out the pages, you know, when you're finished with them. But I don't know, I haven't got to that point yet. So we'll see. So that is the journal in. So really, I mean, from here it's filling pockets and decorating, isn't it? Yeah, I'm really pleased with how it's looking, definitely. Yeah, nice. It's been a while since I've looked at it, so I just have to keep reminding myself how it looks. Well, that is the signature in then. So I'm going to call that a video. I appreciate it was quite a short video today, but the last one was quite long, so, you know, a bit of balance in that. Because on the next video I want to, well, in between the videos I want to start filling pockets and start deciding what I need to make. And then we'll do a little bit of embellishing together as well. But I'm not sure what the next video will be. It might be making some ephemera to go in the pockets. It might be embellishing. We'll just have to see. But, you know, basically that is the next step that I'm at. In the meantime, I will get the journal cut down and bound in so you can see how that's looking. Yeah, that's essentially your look today. Short and sweet. There was one thing I was going to mention, which is, this is for anyone who might be following along. When I did the envelopes, I completely forgot that I left these little pockets open, little envelopes open as pockets. And when I was gluing the papers on the back, I completely forgot, and I just glued the paper all the way down on the back of the envelope. Now in my case, I was able to rectify that by just going in with a ruler and being able to like get the glue off a little bit. But if you are going to follow in my footsteps and you want to make any of the envelopes pockets, I don't have an, oh yes I do. I was just going to say, when you're gluing it in, you only want to get glue on the actual like envelope back. You don't want to get glue inside the envelope because that is what closes the pocket. I know a lot of you have seen that before, but for those of you who haven't, so when I was putting the tape in and the glue, I completely forgot about that. But in my case, it's all right. They are still pockets, just about. So, you know, I was able to rectify that. This one has got tape on it, but I can still fit, you know, a small card in there. So, yeah, I just wanted to mention that because I do know a few of you wanted to make something similar. So yeah, that's it. That's all from me today then. So I will catch you on the next video, hopefully. As I say, I will tighten these up and cut off the excess once I know how bulky this is going to be. If I am going to add a second signature or a second journal, I don't want to because I really like how this looks. Like I picked these book pages especially. If I do have to do a second journal because I'm not liking how it's looking, then they will all go on the one elastic. I'm only going to have one elastic there as opposed to two, so they can both, you know, they can both fit together. That was a lot of talking, wasn't it? Sorry. But I just want to make sure all the information is out there so that no one is confused about what I'm doing. And where we've done the eyelets, I will just need to go in and just tidy that up a little bit and just make sure that everything is nicely smooth and good. That's it from me. I'm going to say goodbye now. Hope that you've enjoyed seeing it come together so far. We are nearly there. I can't believe we're at the filling pockets and embellishing type stage already, but here we are. So thank you so much for those who've been watching, and I hope to see you on the next video. Bye bye for now.